Hey folks, welcome to the DoItYourselfDad channel. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know I'm a big fan of Eufy stuff. I've got it all over the house, and today, Eufy sent us a new toy. And what that toy is basically their entire new security ecosystem. So, we're gonna get into the box and check it out. Wait a minute. How do my lights get in there? Now what actually comes in the box is 3 boxes, and in here we've got the new kind of hub of the whole ecosystem, and then also their new video door lock, as well as their dual video doorbell. Now in this video, not only are we gonna talk about their new system, but we're actually gonna install it, play around with it, and show you how it all works. Now at the hub of the system is this, or actually really this. This is their Homebase 3. If you're familiar with the Eufy systems, they have a Homebase, everything connects to it, but this one is light years ahead of the last one. I'm really pretty excited about this one. With this Homebase, it has a thing called Bionic Mind. So all the artificial intelligence is inside it. So it can actually do facial recognition and let you know when you or a loved one or the mailman or anybody else has walked up to your house, which is great. It can also identify cars and let you know who's pulled in and out of your driveway, and it not just identifies cars in general, but specific cars. The best thing about this thing is that they don't make all the other equipment legacy equipment. If you've got a lot of Eufy equipment, and I've got a ton of Eufy equipment, I've got their doorbells, their door locks, the lights, the smart box, cameras all over the house, the old equipment doesn't become outdated and legacy equipment no longer supported. I'm looking at you, Simply Safe. I'm looking at you. All that stuff will integrate with this one. So all your old stuff will still work with the new system. Another great thing about this one is when you pop the top off here, you can actually put a hard drive in it. It's got 16 gig, but it'll support up to 16 terabyte. All your footage is kept at your house. It's not shipped off to some server overseas or who knows who's got access to it. It's all kept at your house, nice and secure. So on top of it being stored on site, it's also encrypted. And this thing will also work as a full security system. I've got their whole security system set up in my house, and it communicates back to the base station. So there are 0 monthly fees. Now, if you want to pay for security system monitoring, you can, but you don't need to. A lot of the other systems will charge you per camera, per lock, per everything, and it adds up quick. This thing, 0 monthly fees. It all is working through this base station that is kept at your house. So enough about all this, let's get into actually setting this thing up. So let's set this thing up, put the hard drive in it, set the new 4K solar powered cameras up on the house, play around with it, and see how well it all works. Now before we get into showing you how this thing works and if it lives up to all of its claims, we're gonna have to install it. Now if you already know how to install one of these systems or don't need this part, I will have the timestamp down below so you can skip forward to the function of it. But right now, let me show you what all comes in the box. First, you've got the base station, and this is the version 3 of the base station. It's got some pretty cool features that the other base stations did not have. It comes with 2 cameras, and these cameras you notice on the top have solar panels. So if you put these in a place where it gets a minimum of 2 hours of sun, they claim you will never have to charge them. It's your power adapter for the base station, your Cat 5 cable for the base station, USB mounting hardware, and this. And this is pretty cool. These are hard drive screws. And that's because I'm going to be adding a hard drive. All of your footage from this system gets saved onto this. Nothing is saved out on the cloud. That means your footage is secure and in your home. And you can expand the amount of storage by adding an external, or basically an internal, laptop style hard drive. So let's get into the setup. So if you've owned any Eufy devices before, you already know that the entire thing gets set up in your phone. So we're going to do the same thing here. So let's go into the phone, and you go into your My Devices, and you're going to add a new system. So we're going to start by adding the new Homebase, and we're going to add it to our current home. And now we're going to go connect the entire thing to the router and plug it in. Now once the light is done flashing red and now it's flashing blue, we are ready to continue with the setup. So now we're going to scan the serial number on the bottom of it.
Homebase has received a pairing request. Press the sync button on the back to accept it.
Now we're going to push that sync button until we hear a beep. So now we get to give our Homebase a name. We're going to just name it Homebase 3. Now one of the really neat things about this system is the ability to add a face. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some familiar faces, mine, to the app. And now we're going to enter my name. DoItYourselfDad. And then the reason you'd want to put your picture in there is because of this, the Bionic Mind AI. When these cameras see you walking up, it should be able to identify you and actually alert you as to who's walking up to your front door. So you should be able to put family members, friends, even the mailman, and it'll let you know who's walking up. So that means we got to move on to our next step, which is pairing up the cameras. And for that, we're going to jump right back into the app. So we're going to go up to My Devices, hit Add, and then we're going to add the new E330 EufyCam. We're going to add it to our home, and we're going to add it to the new base station. Now, they say we do want to keep this camera within 1 meter of the base, so we're going to move back into my living room and get this thing set up the rest of the way. So we're back in my living room where I have my base station. Let's get the camera set up. We're going to go right back into the app.
Press the sync button until you hear the beep.
So we've heard it beep.
Ready to add device. Device was added successfully.
And I don't know if you heard the chirping going back and forth, but my understanding is it's actually sending signals back and forth talking to each other. It's kind of neat stuff. But now this thing is set up. I'm going to put this one actually above our driveway, and our camera's been added successfully. So let's go hang it up outside. And this one that's going over my driveway is actually going to replace this thing. This is my previous Eufy camera, which has been great. This one's just going to be higher definition, so I'm hoping I'll be able to do things like read license plates. This one also has a spotlight on it, which should be really nice as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the other one back up here so we can get an accurate comparison between the two cameras. So what I've done is I've got the new camera right there below on the mount, and I've got the old camera up there just kind of propped up with a towel pointed in the same direction. This way we should be able to get a nice comparison of the two cameras. So now that everything's set up, we're going to go back to our base station and install that external hard drive. First step is removing the top cover, and then removing the hard drive tray itself. Now we're going to install our hard drive into the tray. Now what's nice about this is there's only one way to do it, so you really can't screw it up. There's little post holes right there, and a little post on the tray. Just install it like so. Then we're going to install the screws in the four corners. Now it should be noted that this is an optional thing. You do not need to do this. It comes with 16 gig of onboard storage, which is a lot of room, and for basic purposes should be more than enough. But if you do want more space, or you're planning on running a lot of cameras, you can expand this thing up. This is a 1 terabyte drive, and it can actually go much larger than that. I believe it can go up to a 16 terabyte drive, which would give you a lot of on-site storage. So now we can start testing and playing around with the camera. Now I'm standing in my garage right now because one of the things that everybody wants to know about is how long does it take to get an alert on your phone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk out of my garage in front of the field of view of the camera, and we'll see how long it takes to get an alert here on my phone. So let's give it a shot. All right, so I got my phone right here. We are going to walk right now as we walk onto the driveway. Right about here, I am in view of the camera. And there is the alert. So I don't have an exact timer here, so we're going to put that up in post. Now this was something that really interested me. With the 4K camera, you should be able to crop down the original image and zoom in the app or in post to actually be able to read things close up like license plates. That's exactly what I did. Took a license plate, I walked out to 20 feet, 40 feet, and 55 feet, and let me show you the results. So here I am walking out to the 20-foot mark and holding up the license plate. When you zoom in, you can clearly see the letters. Now with my old cameras, that was already a little bit of a struggle, but this was even more impressive. At my next distance out, 40 feet, I can still read the letters. This was impossible with my previous cameras. Now once we got past about the 50-foot mark, that did blur out, but we're still doing a lot better than the previous cameras we had, which were 2K resolution. Now here was the thing that was a little bit disappointing. At night when I went outside, it's using the IR LEDs to illuminate everything, and it is blowing out the license plate because of the reflective film on the plate. You can't see anything. I tried the exact same thing with the spotlight on the camera, which we'll talk about in just a second, and I had the same results with that as well. So this works much better at daytime than nighttime if you need to pick up license plates. Now the next thing I wanted to play was the artificial intelligence on this thing. So all my previous cameras would tell the difference between a human and a tree branch moving around, and sometimes even not that well. This one seems to be pretty spot on. Pretty much immediately it would start identifying me in all the videos and then showing me that it was me in the videos. Now, I'm not showing my wife and daughter in these. They don't want to be on the channel, but it's also done a terrific job identifying them in pretty much every video that they've been in as well. It only took uploading a picture of each one of them and then doing a little bit of training. And remember, everything is stored locally, so you're not uploading pictures of you and your loved ones out onto the cloud where people can see your stuff on some server in some other country. Now, one other thing that keeps coming up, and I've actually seen discussed in some of the discussions about this new home base station and whatnot, is the issue of false alarms. And I have that problem in my front yard, or I did with my old system. Now, my camera over my driveway is set up right there. I have a huge tree here, and the sun comes in and casts shadows all across the ground. With my previous cameras, I got constant false alarms saying that it saw people when it was really seeing shadows. With the new system, I have gotten no false alarms up here, and I used to get dozens a day. So they've made some really big improvements with their AI in this new system. I'm only getting person alerts and vehicle alerts because that's what I have it set up to do. I don't have it set up for motion or pet for the front yard at least. So I haven't gotten any false alarms. And where that is really important is that if you're using this for security and you keep getting false alarms, you'll ignore the ones that are true alarms. Now, I've mentioned a couple times the previous generation of Eufy's camera, and the ones that I have here are the Eufy Pro 2, which is a 2K camera. So what I'm showing here is the night resolution on the new 4K camera, and I'm switching between the regular view with the lamps on and with the IR on. And in just a second, I'm going to show you the footage off the previous generation 2K cameras. And here's almost the same shot at pretty much the same time of day with the 2K cameras. You'll notice it's still a really impressive image, and they are darn good cameras. So I'm not saying anything bad about the previous cameras. The big upside to the 4K cameras is they do a much nicer job at night without using the lights. And if you do need to crop in and get a zoomed in image, you can pull that off much better with the 4K cameras. And this is that light I was just talking about. Now with these, the light comes on and actually illuminates your driveway. My last cameras didn't have a light, it just had LEDs. This has a light. So this is a security thing. People walk onto your driveway, they know they're being watched, the light just turned on. But it also means when you get out of your car, you can see what you're doing and you're not tripping over the cat, which is nice. And it's really impressive that these things are powered by just the solar panel. Speaking of that solar panel, before we end this video, let's take a look at the solar panel and its charging. Now that black thing on top of the camera is a solar panel, and Eufy claims that with 2 hours of sun a day, this thing should be able to run indefinitely, and so far from what I've seen, that does seem to be the case. My panel gets indirect sun because it's shaded by a tree, and we have a pretty much flat charge curve, which means it is not charging, but it's also not discharging. Now, if you wind up in a situation where it is slightly discharging, you can also charge up with a USB port on the back if you have to. So as you can see, the new 4K camera in the new base station is very impressive, and it's a leap forward from their previous stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it. But what I'm really happy with is how Eufy is treating their customers on this one. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I got burned by another security company, Simply Safe. And what they did was they put out a whole new system and they abandoned all their old hardware. If you had problems with it, they wouldn't support it. They forced you into purchasing an entire new system. That is not what Eufy's doing. Eufy put out a new base station, new cameras, and all their old stuff will integrate with the new one, and they have a rollout plan. So at the time of release of this thing, you will be able to integrate a lot of your current wireless cameras, and the ones that can't integrate at the time of release, they have a rollout plan so they can get them on gradually, and that will be done by the end of 2022 into the beginning of 2023. So by the beginning of 2023, everything should integrate. And as those things come online, I'm gonna be putting up updates. So you're gonna wanna hit that subscribe button. I'll be putting out videos, I'll be putting out posts on my community feed, and I'll also be putting out YouTube shorts showing the integration of the new stuff. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned to the channel, and I'll be working on all that as stuff kind of comes out. Now, if you go down into the description below and in the pinned comment, I will have links to this system and all the other stuff in here. And I'm also gonna be updating coupons because I wanna make sure that the viewers of this channel get the best deals on this stuff if this is something you're interested in. Now, if you run into issues or questions along the way, please leave a comment down below. I'm always in there answering questions and comments. So if you run into something, ask. I'm happy to help out. If this video helped you out, give it a great big thumbs up. And of course, thanks for watching.